But we've got to get to the main event, gentlemen. That's race number 8 on the card, the Albasti Equi World Dubai New Zealand Oaks, Group 1 fillies for 2,400 metres, and a relatively dominant favourite here, Steve.
You're headed by Self Obsession, won 4 on the bounce, including 3 at Group 2 level. $2.30, well played. That's its opening price there, so it hasn't changed, but again, well played.
Yep.
As has the stablemate, the Perfect Pink at $6. Lavilli at $7.50, new ownership there. Bellatrix Black, $10. Glory Bound, just out of turn, 10 out to 11. Aspen Colorado, very solid at $12 mark. Achieve, also a bit like Glory Bound, just out of turn, a little bit friendless early doors. Mustang Valley, very well played, probably the best played outside the favourite, 21 into 15. And also a bit of speaking for number 12, Apache Annie, 26 into 21. But a couple of horses that have moved off a high lay price, but best lead, I probably would go around number 1 in Self Obsession.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. BP, look, 2 months ago, 8 weeks ago, we would have been saying the Perfect Pink was a shot side to win this race, but she just keeps producing Self Obsession. They had to have a bit of a rethink around the Perfect Pink and the plan they take with her, and now quite a dominant favourite, $2.30.
She is, and she comes out of the right race, doesn't she, in the Lowland Stakes. And looking over the last 12 years of Sunline Vases and Lowland Stakes, the winner of, and then the winner of the New Zealand Oaks, of the last 12 runnings of the New Zealand Oaks, the winner has 9 times out of 12 come out of the Lowland. Now, 5 of them won the Lowland and then went on to win the New Zealand Oaks. And then the other 4 have finished 9th, 4th, 2nd and 2nd in the Lowland to then go on and win the New Zealand Oaks. Now, there's also another little anomaly to that the horse that finished 4th in the Lowland Stakes going back into 2016 was Fanatic. Now, of course, that horse was a promoted winner over Sophia Rosa, who won the Lowland Stakes and, of course, won the New Zealand Oaks, and then, of course, was relegated back into 2nd position. The Sunline Vase, we have seen a recent winner, of course, of the Sunline Vase in last year in a Madalena to then go on and win the race. We've seen 3 winners out of the last 12 years. So Self Obsession clearly comes from the right race and in the right form lines with what she's done so far this preparation.
Yeah, you'd agree with that, Paul. Self Obsession, $2.30, but seems like a race you'd potentially have a little bit of a play at longer odds.
Yeah, it's just very, very hard to take your eyes off Self Obsession. Jamie Richards, Michael McNabb, as BP said, she comes in off that Lowland victory. She's just been racking the victories up, the Phillies Classic, the Royal Stakes. She doesn't seem to have too many weaknesses. From the 8 draw, I'm guessing McNabb will just get her across and sit her one out, sort of around midfieldish probably, and she just looks the better the race. And it's not a poor field either. The Perfect Pink, Lavilli, who was super last time out. I thought that 5th was big. Bellatrix Black, of course, came through the middle at Ellerslie to pick up a very good victory there. And, of course, Mustang Valley. I see was taking some money on Mustang Valley. Murray Baker, one more chance.
Last chance for Murray to go out with the swan song here with Mustang Valley. She was very good last time, boxing on well for 2nd. But Steve, Self Obsession, $2.30. She obviously looks the one to beat here, but it's a nice betting race outside of her.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to bring up a graphic here, Thaddeus, around the 3 key lead-up races here and the race shapes that have been developing in these staying events as we head towards the grand final over 2,400 metres. So you'll see here up graphically, the first one was the Phillies Classic at Te Rapa over 2,000 metres, won by Self Obsession. So the first 1,400 metres was run at a 92.59, 17 lengths below par and flying home 4.8 lengths above par. You had Self Obsession leading on that occasion, so she was in the right position. The overall race rated a little bit below par, 1.6 lengths below par there. But again, it did favour horses on speed at Te Rapa. Then you look at the Lowland over 2,100 metres. Up to the 1,500 metre mark, 12.7 lengths below par. So again, favouring horses that were on speed. As we saw, Self Obsession won this race as well, and she took a trail in that position. The final 634.41, 2.7 lengths above par. So horses like Aspen Colorado, who was worse in midfield, rattling home the second fastest last 200, 11.49, Also, Self-Obsession, you see there, the last 8, 6, 4, 2 closing splits, even though she was in the right position, was the quickest of the race. So I think that's also a tick for Self-Obsession. Then look at the Sunline Vase, a different direction of horses. Again, to the 600 metre mark, 18.9 lengths below par. So again, they've walked and sprinted home, favouring horses on speed. The last 634 and change, 3.5 lengths above par, overall rating 2.5 lengths below par. So Bellatrix Black, who was probably within 2 or 3 lengths of the leader coming around the turn, recorded the second fastest last 211.49. Now, she was the winner. Lavilli, who was out the back off a wide gate, they elected to go back, not knowing the total race shape was going to unfold the way it did, but she rattled home the fastest last 8, 6, 4, 2 in the race by a decent margin, Lavilli. So that basically that's showing a couple aspects. Horses that don't be afraid if they've positioned midfield, or even worse in midfield in key lead-up races, and they've been hitting the line strong but have been out of the place getters, don't go away from them if you like them. If they've shown the right closing sectional, stick with them. The thing around Self-Obsession, even though she's been in the position to suit off these race shapes, I don't know if she's been... I don't know if it's quite suited her. She could be a class above the rest of these fillies, and off a strong tempo, I think her biggest asset is her staying credentials. And she could put a decent margin on this field purely if the race was run at an even tempo. It's been quite compressed margins because quite often you see the sit and sprint affairs, compressed margins, hard for horses to really stretch out and put a margin on their rivals. She might have just been purely just class ability and also having that tactical speed, getting over the line on those race shapes. I feel off an even tempo, she may be better suited, Self-Obsession, purely because I think she's got a bit of a staying quality about her at $2.30. Well played, but...
Do we expect then, do you expect, as this is probably the grand final, that there might be a little bit more tempo in this race? Because what that graphic highlighted for me was that they've been going very slowly to that 600 metre mark, and to see if their filly can stay, and then they can push on to an Oaks potentially. Can that all turn around now, perhaps in the Oaks, where everyone's going for a grand final, we're going to see a little bit more speed to the 600 metre mark? Who knows, I guess.
Look, it's not guaranteed,
but
I think at some stage throughout the running, if they go below even tempo for the first, say, 1,000 metres, you'll see some pace ignited by 1 or 2 horses, and it could be Self-Obsession and say, look, I'm the best stayer here, I've got a class edge, I'm going to run you into the ground. What we saw in the Derby is we saw a similar profile in terms of race shapes. Their lead-in races were run at moderate tempo, then a sprint home. The Derby, the first half of the race, was run above par. So come a grand final, the pressure's on, a lot of money at stake, jockeys riding in that aggressive fashion to try and put their horses into a position and be in that winning position on the turn. So we may see it in the Oaks. I know there's been Oaks in the past that they've run below tempo and it's been a sprint home, so it can happen as well. But look, there's a little bit of pressure. I know Self-Obsession will go forward. Flash Mary, Ballon Rouge will look to take a spot. Rue Claire will probably look to take a spot off a tricky gate, but there's no obvious horse that's going to go out willy-nilly here. But I think at some stage, whether it's mid-race or early doors, there will be some tempo.
Okay, BP, look, is it as obvious as Self-Obsession, or look, some encouraging figures around Lavilli, Aspen, Colorado, and Bellatrix Black, so maybe it's not just as simple as that, or do we just add the $2.30 to our $2.40 with Imperatrice here?
No, look, I don't think it's as simple as that. Stephen's right, because where's that little bit of pressure going to come from? There is no obvious horse that's going to lead them up, but so often when we get to these grand finals that there is, and there's going to be that right pressure. And that's what this race really evolves around, isn't it? Is what type of tempo we're going to get, because we didn't get it in the Sunline Vase. Lavilli was terrific in that race from where she's been able to finish on and run those fastest 8, 6, 4 and 2. And I reckon it was against a horse like Glory Bound as well, because Glory Bound in that Sunline Vase got a pair or two further back, really, than what it needed to be, and with how that race was run, and still finished into 4th position, had to make a move at the 600 metre mark, going wide around horses, and still finished into 4th position. So if there is better tempo here, you've only got to go back 2 starts ago when she's pushed Self-Obsession in the Alice Classic, and I have no doubt with her getting 2,400 metres as well. So you have to still be with her despite what you saw in that race, and Bellatrix Black and Achieve and Mustang Valley beating her home, and Lavilli running better sectionals. I also like the Lowland reference here around 2 horses. Aspen Colorado, yes, because of how that horse has made ground from back in the field and run the right sectionals. Look, there's a horse here at 100 to 1 that could run a race, and it's runner number 16 in Another Bella, because that was also one of those horses from back in the field that still ran the right sectionals in a race that was dominated by those front 3. Look, Another Bella ran the second fastest last 800, fourth fastest last 6, second fastest last 400, and was certainly climbing all over them in the concluding stages. Could go around at $100, this horse is a maiden galloper, Another Bella. But boy, I'd be lobbying into a trifecta in first 4 if it was able to somehow replicate its run in the Lowland Stakes, because it could be some sort of chance.
Yeah, oh, sheepers creepers. I'm going to watch that bet count as we speak live. Look, boys, we've got to wind this up, but I blame myself here. I haven't led us through in a timely fashion, Pop. So just run us through those bets for an Oaks perspective as far as you see it. You with Self-Obsession?
Look, I've got her as my top selection in the race, yes, but I'm going to probably explore some other bets. I think it's a great race to try and play a trifecta or first 4 or on the top 4 markets. I don't want to drop Glory Bound. Look, I'm already on it anyway through futures bets anyway. So I think Aspen Colorado and Leville are horses that run great races here. And look, let's go for it. Another Bella, top 4. What's it paying for in the top 4? Another Bella sitting at $7.50.
I love it. Okay, Paul, where have you ended up on this year's Oaks?
I'm going to go with a power play here. Self-Obsession win and Leville top 4 at $5.50.
That sounds good. Yeah, you like that, Pops?
Yeah, that's a good one. Nice. Yeah, power plays could be the way to go here as well. Yeah, good work, Paulie.
Yeah, get into those power plays, have a look at them. They'll be on all those races at Trentham tomorrow.